So, Eric and Joel, congratulations on your roles in Harry Potter and the Cursed Child. Talk. Let's start a little bit by having you both talk a little bit about your characters in the show, and give us for people who haven't seen it yet, talk a little bit, give a little bit of the narrative, so people can understand who the characters are.
Take it away, Erik.
Okay, yeah. Well, yeah, thank you. This show is an incredible thing to get to be a part of. It's really special. So the show picks up 19 years after the Harry Potter, the original stories, and where the epilogue at the end of the last book leaves off. That's the first scene of our play and where it picks up. And I play Scorpius Malfoy, who is Draco Malfoy's son, and Joel plays Albus Severus Potter, who is the middle child of Harry Potter and Ginny Potter. And we get to go on a pretty wild adventure together.
Lots of magic ensues. Yes. No, it's
Certainly.
Joel, talk a little bit about your character and where he's coming from in the story.
yeah, Albus is the middle son of Harry and Ginny, and he is a lot like his dad, and that's not always a good thing. It's hard to live in your dad's shadow when your dad is the savior of the wizarding world, and so Harry and Albus sort of butt heads over that at the beginning of the show, and it's an adventure of sort of father and son finding their way back to each other, and then two friends from dads who also don't like each other, kind of building this friendship in spite of the last generation's differences.
Yeah. Now, talk a little bit about, I mean, Harry Potter is obviously such a involved universe of these books and just this whole mythology around it. Um, Going into these roles, had you fully sort of mastered all the ins and outs of it, or was that something you had to do after you got the role?
I was a Potterhead. I think you were too, Erik, as if I'm not
Yeah, I
mistaken. Yeah.
definitely grew up on it, listening. I listened to all the audiobooks and saw all the movies in the theaters,
Yeah.
um, and but also, in the rehearsal process, really came back to it. And even now, a year and a half into working on the show, I've been re-listening to the audiobooks, and I'll throw one of the movies on sometimes.
Yeah,
It's a really rich world. It's a blast.
easiest character research I've ever done. Mostly because
Yeah.
it's, at least for our generation, I think that for many people that story is right on the tip of our fingers. But it's such a gift to be in these roles that are not characters that people necessarily know from the books. As Erik said, like Albus shows up very briefly at the end of the epilogue. I think the back of Scorpius's head shows up in the epilogue, and so it's nice to kind of have that world built, but also get to then help create these new characters every night for the first time for the audience. And that's, it's such a fun sandbox to play
Yeah,
in the
yeah.
world.
Now, talk a little bit about the theatrical aspect of it. I mean, obviously, the source material is books, but what it's really known for as these huge event movies, but this is theater. So what do you, I mean, I got a chance to see the show and thought it was really great, and talk a little bit about what the show brings to bear in terms of offering a theatrical experience in this universe.
Sure. Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's for me, that's what makes the show so spectacular is when you experience the magic in your imagination. That's one thing. Your imagination can go anywhere, which is incredibly beautiful. And when you watch it on a movie screen, you can kind of, I think, at times take it for granted. Um, the special effects are incredible, and that's something that we have come to know and love about films. And when it's happening in the same room as you, right in front of your eyes, and there's real people standing on that stage. There's
Yeah.
nothing in between you and them except for, a couple of feet. You're breathing the same air as them, and you're seeing things shoot out of their wands, and you're seeing things disappear. I think that is it's really breathtaking, and that's something we get to experience,
Yeah.
in the show. We hear the audience's gasps and exclamations, and I think it's that tangible magic, combined with the heart that is at the center of the story, that I think is what makes the show so wonderful.
Joel?
Yeah, this is gonna sound a little cliche, but I mean it honestly, working on a show like this kind of reminds me what is at the heart of storytelling and performance as an art form of, you're we've got this grand wizarding world and it has to be brought to life every night, and all we have to bring it to life are the people on the stage and the very creative minds behind the show who have put all the pieces together to, as Erik said, like make this happen in real time. There's no post production. You don't get to redo it. You don't get to fix that in the edit. And I think that again, it sounds cliche, but that is the magic of live theater, and that is part of what is so wonderful to share with an audience every night, of invite them into that process, and kind of that is the oldest form of storytelling. It is in many ways kind of like sitting around a campfire, because we do have real fire on the stage, and so it's
Yes,
a
we
lot of
do.
fun to share a story that not only people love so much, but also that really is theater at its full potential, every night.
Yeah, that's a great way of putting it, theater at its full potential. Um, are there moments in these performances each night that are the most, I mean, because there's a lot of like physical stunts and things happening and flames. Are there moments that are really challenging, or yeah, for each of you to say, like, give me one specific thing that's maybe the hardest thing for you in each, like the hardest scene or hardest moment for you to pull off?
What can and can't we say? It's a marathon. I mean, first of all, the show entire it's 3.5 hours. It's a marathon. I don't think that either of our characters ever walks on or off the stage. We're always running, and there's usually a quick change in between. For me, the first half hour of the show is a sprint that then becomes a marathon. We also have a scene later in the show where we throw ourselves around quite a bit. I don't know if you have thoughts on which section is hardest for you, Erik, but those two come to mind.
It changes, and Joel and I have been with the show for a good while now, and I think the challenges, some of the logistical challenges of early on in our run, we've maybe gotten a grasp on now, and new things crop up, moments to delve into further, or um, yeah, just I think it changes. I'm trying to think if there's anything specific. I guess Joel kind of touched on this, but the show asks a lot of you as an actor, and just being available to that and having the energy and the reserve to go there
Yeah.
is it's easy when you have wonderful scene partners and wonderful storytelling happening around you, but it takes a toll.
What do you hope, for both of you, that the audience takes away at the end of this 3.5 hour experience of seeing the show?
That's a fantastic question.
Yeah, that's a great question.
I again, I think there's a wide range of things, and I think that the show holds a lot for people of all ages. Um, I hope that there's a sense of vulnerability and connection that people can take away. The approval to be vulnerable, the approval to connect and show how much you care about the people that you love. And I hope people walk away and hug their dads, hug their kids. Um, and I hope people walk away saying, wow, that was so much fun.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, so the first Broadway show I ever saw was Spider-Man Turn Off the Dark. A similarly big spectacle in this very same theater. Back then it was called the Foxwoods, now where it's called the Lyric. Um, And I remember seeing that show and going, wow, this is like it kind of, you get theater at its full potential. This is what I'm being amazed that they could create something like that with another very well loved story in real time before you. And that was a big major moment that kind of set me on the path to the theater and being an actor. And I always hope that every night there's a kid in the audience having that same experience with our show, and receiving, like Eric, as you were saying, like receiving all the heart that is in Harry Potter through that experience of like, wow, this show is so cool. There's so many colors, and I'm feeling it too. And so that's, I always hope, and we see some of those kids at the stage door, and you can tell that they've just had this wonderful experience, and that's such a gift every night to kind of be a part of giving that to them.
Thanks for watching the You Interview channel. With over 3,000 original celebrity videos, we have one of the largest collections of celebrity interviews anywhere. So remember to like and comment on our videos and subscribe to the channel. If you want to get more involved, you can become a member of the channel. Membership has its perks. You can see exclusive celebrity videos and get the opportunity to ask our celebrity guests questions. We can't wait to hear from you.